Wrestling fans, are you ready? For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, let's get ready to rumble!
And now, please welcome at this time your hosts, Graham GSM Matthews and RJ Marceau. You're listening to the next era of wrestling radio. This is WrestleRant Radio.
Back here on WrestleRant Radio for Thursday, November 16th, 2023. A monumental day here in WrestleRant Radio history. You know what today is, Mr. Marceau?
What?
20-year anniversary of Survivor Series 03. No, I'm just kidding. It's your birthday, Mr. Marceau. Big 30. Happy birthday. How you doing?
I'm doing good, thanks. I was literally going to say, what, the 20th anniversary of Survivor Series 03, the greatest show ever.
I mean, well, it legitimately is, though. I mean, it was. I completely forgot about that until the other day that it happened. You've talked about it before, but I didn't really put it in perspective until I thought about it. It did happen on your 10th birthday. So that, not only do you turn 30 today, which, don't get me started, that seems crazy. You seem like you're only 22 to me. I said that to you the other day when I saw you, but it's also the 30 or 20-year anniversary of Survivor Series 2003. I think that's worth a rewatch today, if only for that Stone Cold the Bischoff tag team match.
It's all for Kane and Shane McMahon.
I mean, that honestly isn't the worst buried alive match I've ever seen. In the Undertaker interference, the last time that we see American Badass Undertaker actually in that match.
No, yeah. Good shit, pal.
It's quality show, so worth a rewatch today. But listen, we got a lot to get into, Mr. Marceau, before I let you go in a little bit, as you are on your way to work right now. But we're going to be talking Raw for Monday a little bit, SmackDown from last week, some stuff that happened there, and then getting a Full Gear prediction. So really not the biggest show this week. Next week will be a loaded show, even more so. We're going to be talking Full Gear next week. We're going to be previewing Survivor Series. A lot to get into there, but let's start with this week first. New episodes every single week on WrestleRant.com, WrestleRantRadio.com, iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Pandora, Amazon Music. Rate the show, review the show, subscribe to the show, and never miss a new episode every single week. So, Mr. Marceau, I got to ask you first. This broke literally this morning. We talked about it when it first was rumored a few weeks ago, but now it's been made official per WWE, and some of this stuff usually happens after we're done recording. That's the big gimmick, but not today. WWE announced earlier today that Backlash is headed to France, Paris, France, in May 2024. I wrote Backlash 2023 here in my notes. It's that time of year where stuff turns into the next year and you're still stuck on the current year, but it's going to be Backlash 2024 in Paris, coming on May 4th, I believe. Then SmackDown will emanate from Paris as well that Friday. Exciting news, Mr. Marceau. Obviously, I don't expect you there. I know you got the Marceau last name. Montreal may have been enough for right now. Maybe we can expect you in Paris down the road. But just give me your reaction to Backlash being made official for Paris, France next May.
A little parlez-vous français? No, I mean, we were talking about this a couple weeks ago when it was like rumored, but I just think them going outside the country is only going to help the product in the United States. When you're not like getting smothered with it, you want it more. So anyway, I mean, going to international markets, I feel like they get different crowds, and like I said, then it kind of starves us out a little bit more, so it gives you that itch and interest to go to see more live events or go see a PLE or just watch the product even more, I feel like. So I like that they're going to France. They're also going to Germany next year. And they're going to Australia, so I feel like they're kind of doing this trend of going international, but like I said, I feel like it also makes the hunger in the United States even bigger, so I think it's a win-win all around.
Yeah, for sure. Already, it's not even 2024 yet, and they've already announced 3 huge international shows, like you said, for Perth, Australia, Paris, France, and Berlin, Germany, for that Bash in Berlin show in late August.
Bash in Berlin.
Yeah. And then, like you said, it kind of creates more of a hunger amongst fans to go to the shows here in the States. for good old Cleveland. That was the rumored site for SummerSlam coming up next year if we go. Does that excite you at all? Have you been to Cleveland before or no?
It's literally a little more exciting than Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit ended up being okay. Not the most exciting city. No offense to anyone who lives in Detroit. I wasn't exactly overly anticipating heading there, and it was an interesting experience, a fun time overall. But yeah, no, I'll put Cleveland a little before that. But listen, these are cities I've never been to before, so I am slightly intrigued. But that is not made official. That was just rumored by Fightful a few weeks ago. So before we get a Raw from Monday Night, Mr. Marceau, I do have to mention this. Two things from SmackDown last week that were pretty eventful. Santos Escobar turning heel. I've already talked about this before, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it. I thought the angle was really, really well done. With Escobar turning heel finally, and I think Rey Mysterio is legitimately getting knee surgery, and I think he got it done the other day. If it's not legit,
he got it done yesterday.
It was done yesterday?
Yep.
Okay, so we got it done yesterday. The photo went up. Assuming it's legit, and that's not just a storyline thing, because sometimes they kind of go to great lengths to do that sort of stuff. Assuming it is legit, he'll be out for probably 6 to 8 weeks. Works out well. You can do Santos versus Carlito. In the meantime, maybe tell the story of where does the rest of Legado fall, or LWO. Did they fall with Santos? Did they fall with Rey? Zelina Vega as well. There's a lot of story potential there. But I thought it was a really good angle, and this is exactly what I've wanted to see for a while now. We said here on the show a week ago, Santos, I mean, that whole thing with him leaving the brass knuckles on the apron last week during Rey versus Logan Paul had to culminate in a Santos heel turn. I just didn't think we would get it last Friday, and I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, I think it was well done. I feel like it also kind of like, in a way, gave Santos an out a little bit because Rey was, in a sense, provoking him. Like, he did hit him a few times before Santos, like, flipped out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he did slap him and, like, push him. Like, Rey was giving it to him a little bit, and then Santos just was like, F this, and just went crazy. But, no, I like it, and like you said, I'm glad that we didn't see, like, what side everyone else in the LWO, like, who they're kind of with. I mean, technically they seem like they're signing with Rey as of now, but, I mean, we're still in the infant stages here. But I'm glad they didn't really pick sides yet, and I feel like you said, we can get that the next couple of weeks and probably months over SmackDown, kind of see where they lie on which side of the fence. So I thought it was done well. I like Santos a lot better as a heel, especially from his NXT stuff, than his babyface run so far in SmackDown. So we'll see. I think it's going to be good. And like I said, I mean, if Rey's actually hurt, I don't know how long he'll be out, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I think so far so good as far as how they told the story. And, you know, Rey, if he's out for 6 to 8 weeks, he'll probably be back by the end of the year, early 2024, maybe in the Royal Rumble. You can have him eliminate Santos or whatever, set up the match for Mania. A lot of different ways they can go with it. He did slap him around, but to be fair, I mean, they were telling the story that he was slapping him around. It wasn't just like he did something wrong, and then he was like abusing him like a father to like an abused father to his son or something. It was because he didn't save Carlito. Because he blamed Carlito.
No,
blamed
I
him.
get that, but still,
he got physical with him first. You're saying? What'd you say?
I'm just saying, like, even though he didn't help it, like, does that really?
Listen, he was trying
really,
to be
like, mean. Yeah, no, I get it, but I just feel like he was provoked a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. It wasn't just like they were like, "Hey, how's your day going?" and then just smack him over the back of the head with a chair. Or like,
I really didn't beat his ass for no reason, but there was their reasoning. But I don't know. I feel like usually that leads to more arguing than just like I feel like it's the first time I've seen like a babyface like especially like Rey Mysterio like I said, attack him a little bit. Like I don't know. It honestly caught me off guard a little bit. I'm like, is Rey going heel? And then Santos just killed him, but. No, I mean, I like how it was done. I thought it was done well.
Hey, I think that begs the question, is all of this Rey's fault? I mean, Dominic turned on him, Eddie Guerrero turned on him, R.I.P., you know, his the anniversary of his passing was a couple days ago. Batista turned on him once upon a time. Is Rey Mysterio the bottom, bottom line, the equivalent here with everything, kind of the common denominator amongst all of these betrayals?
I just feel like he plays like the nice guy that gets fucked over. Well, I don't know.
I know.
It just seems like he's always on the wrong end, but He's just, yeah, I don't know.
Just
I don't think it's him. I just think everyone's taking advantage of him.
Poor Rey. Yeah, he's just too nice of a guy. Listen, he's Rey Mysterio.
Too nice of a guy.
Too nice of a guy. Hey, listen, that's not going to get you anywhere in this business. Apparently, you think you would have learned that lesson a while ago. We should have seen this coming, but, I guess not. But I thought it was a really good angle. And listen, it came out yesterday, too. I said this a while ago, but I'll say it again. Came out yesterday that Bad Bunny might be good for Mania Night 1 or 2 next year if his schedule allows for it. And if WWE has a plan for him, listen, if he's free next Mania, he's fucking there. There's no way WWE does not use him at Mania if he's able to appear. And I said this a while ago, not even knowing what his schedule looked like. To me, if they were going to do the turn I don't want to say this early because they could have had Santos turn heel 3 months ago, but they waited on purpose. I think we get Santos and Rey. I mean, they could at this point, if Rey's not going to be around until like January, you could wait until January to do. You could wait until WrestleMania to do their first match. The way that I see it playing out, though, is that we get Santos and Rey at some point between now and then. And at Mania, it's either going to be all of Legado, Santos, Cruz del Toro, Joaquin Wilde, and Zelina is probably better off as a babyface. She can stick with Rey for right now. But them versus Rey, Bad Bunny, and I saw someone say yesterday Dragon Lee. I was thinking Carlito because he's actually been involved in this feud. Dragon Lee's another fine option. I mean, I don't know if you want to substitute Carlito for him. But, I think that'd be a pretty good attraction for Mania. Santos and Rey one-on-one would be ideal to make, because I feel like that's the Mania match. But if you really want to inject some star power in there and make it Mania-worthy, I think putting Bad Bunny in there, because he was also the one who teamed with, the LWO last year. Kind of like when he teamed with Damien, and Damien went heel, he faced Damien this past year at Backlash. Kind of the same thing, where a reversal of the roles, but he's going to be with Rey Mysterio teaming up against Santos and his buddies. I feel like that'd be a great Mania matchup.
Yeah, I would like it if it was Rey, Carlito, and Bad Bunny versus Legado. Like I said, I'd keep Zelina face for now. Maybe she screws them over somewhere down the line, but I actually really like her as a face right now.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any reason to turn her either. So yeah, I like Dragon Lee. Yeah, I get it, but like he's not really intertwined in the story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, putting him in over Carlito just doesn't seem right. No,
Carlito's been involved in the whole part of the reason, not the whole reason, but part of the reason why Santos turned heel was that he thought Rey was favoring Carlito. That was pretty obvious from the moment they brought back Carlito at what was it, Fastlane or whatever it was a couple weeks ago, that they used him in that 6-man tag team match, and he was kind of like the saving grace of the matchup. Santos was clearly jealous by that, and they expressed that on Friday's SmackDown. They told that story. So that to me would make sense. That's where I would go with it. I look forward to seeing what they do. Honestly, I might regret saying this, but you could do this. You could have Zelina in Rey's corner, and then Elektra Lopez. You can reunite the original Legado and put her with Santos. I say she's not ready. I don't know if she'll ever be ready. She's just not that good. I know she's doing the thing with Lola Vice right now, but I wouldn't completely count that out as a possibility, where she gets called up and joins Legado again.
Could you put Lola Vice in her? Would you rather put her in that position, or would you rather put Lopez back in?
Honestly, it's funny because Lola's not ready either, but she'll be more ready than Elektra Lopez. Elektra Lopez will be my man. I just don't think Lopez will ever be that good. I think she's at a level now where she's been in NXT now for a few years. She hasn't shown that much improvement. She is better. She's better now than she was during that BFAB match a couple of years ago. That was one of the worst TV matches I've seen in 5 years. But, I think Lola Vice is higher.
I mean, also, she doesn't have to be like this breakout star. She can be more of like a manager of LA.
Yeah, but I think, but when you mention the idea of Lola Vice, though, I think she might be better in that role. I memean, I feel bad for Elektra. She keeps getting overlooked. But I feel like Zelina, I like the idea of pairing Zelina with Legado. I didn't think it was necessary to break up Legado as it was. But Zelina, to be fair, was so much better in that role. And then Lola, when they eventually wrestle, will probably be better in that role. And they're also higher on her. And she just won the breakout tournament, which is why I don't think she's getting called up anytime soon. But when it comes time for Santos to get like a female manager again, I would probably either put Elektra with them over. I think Zelina is great as a babyface, like you said. But I think Lola might be the better bet because she has a higher ceiling. She has more name notoriety from before WWE. I don't know. And she's just probably a better fit for that group, I think, now that you mention it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, assuming she, improves more between now and Mania. And I don't know if she'd get called up. She'd get called up by Mania, but at some point might not be the worst idea. Also from SmackDown, I want to get your thoughts on this. I don't know if they're officially in Damage Control, but Asuka and Kairi Sane becoming allies of the group. We talked about Kairi Sane's return last week, but it was made official on SmackDown. They're all kind of on the same page. Bayley, Dakota Kai, Io Sky, Kairi Sane, and Asuka all kind of forging an alliance against Charlotte Flair, Shotzi, Bianca Belair, heading into a Women's War Games match. Now, I said a week ago I was not a fan of that, and the idea, even after we talked, it came out from Meltzer, they're probably going to do a Women's War Games match with Chelsea and Piper, which I said that would be fucking awful. Nothing against them. I like them, but they do not fit into this story at all. It has to be a story that makes sense. And this makes sense. Asuka, I said on hashtag last week it would be dumb if she joined Damage Control, but it's not that she's really joining Damage Control. She's kind of just rejoining or reuniting with Kairi. So that makes sense, I guess. I just don't want her as the leader. We talked about that last week. But if they have her in the group and she's kind of a background player, that's fine. But Dakota Kai's hurt, so it'll very likely be Io, Bayley, Kairi, and Asuka against Charlotte, Shotzi, Bianca, and a partner. So before we get to who the partner might be, what were your thoughts on the angle itself and what we saw on SmackDown with the women and them kind of getting the spotlight on SmackDown last Friday night?
I went crazy. Big Io fan, big Kairi fan. Don't really love Asuka, honestly, but when she sprayed the mist in her face, I went crazy. I think it's good. Like you said, I feel like this is eventually leading to Bayley getting out. I feel like Dakota's clearly on Io's side, so I guess when she comes back, I feel like it would be the four of them, and then Bayley would kind of be on the outs. But no, I think it's good. Like I said, I don't know if they're in. I feel like Kairi, I don't even know, like I said, I don't know if they're in the group, they're not. But I feel like they're going to push Bayley out, and then they kind of form their own little thing. But I thought it was a great way to end the show. Like, so I feel like they were like the spotlight, and I felt like it was done very well.
If they had more time heading into War Games, and if Dakota Kai was cleared, you could have had Bayley turn babyface here. They might be rushing it, but she could have been the fourth person on that team, and then it would be 4-on-4. Dakota, Io, Kairi, and Asuka versus Belair, Flair, Shotzi, and Bayley. But they're not doing that because Dakota's not cleared, and they need that fourth person. So, I thought the 6-person tag team match on SmackDown felt like the pay-per-view match, but then Asuka turned, and it was like, okay, that makes sense. Who do you think that fourth person is? Now, the leading speculation from PW Insider, which is a pretty credible source, was Becky Lynch. I'm going to tell you right now, I fucking hate that idea. Now, I know she feuded with them last year, heading into this year. I saw enough of Damage Control versus Becky Lynch to last a lifetime, as I have with Bianca in Damage Control. I know she has history with them, but she's on Raw. She's feuding with Xia Li. It just doesn't make sense. Maybe they just want to get her on the pay-per-view. But we literally saw the exact same fucking thing a year ago, dude. When you and I went to SmackDown. And now on SmackDown, right before Survivor Series, Becky Lynch came back. Becky Lynch came back and joined the Women's War Games match. It would literally be the same thing as last year. I just feel like that would be lazy. The only other two options I think that would make sense, I know Michin isn't as big of a name as Becky Lynch, but even she, I would rather see in that match. Even she was in War Games last year too, but I'd rather see her in there over Becky Lynch. I just feel like that's forced. Jade Cargill is another popular option amongst fans. I don't think that she'd be ready for that. Her in a War Games match just sounds like a recipe for a disaster. I just don't really know how that makes sense either. And then a long shot, and it's probably not it's definitely not happening, but it would make sense if it was Sasha Banks. I don't think she's coming back this soon, but I thought it was worth mentioning because she has the history with Bayley and whatever. And even Kairi, she actually beat Kairi for that IWGP Women's Championship earlier this year. Not that they would mention that. But yeah, just give me your thoughts on who do you think that fourth person might be, Mr. Marceau.
Like you said, they said I saw the report that it was like Becky, and I don't know. I love Becky. I don't know. I just don't think it really fits the story. She's not on SmackDown. Yeah, she feuded with Damage Control, but it was like the beginning of the year. No to Jade. Like I said, I just sound like a recipe of. It sounds so bad. Mm-hmm. Like Michin, I guess, but it's just like I said, it's just she's just not over, and I just feel like Shotzi's not over either. So it's like their team's just basically Bianca and Charlotte. I don't know if I know people mention Liv Morgan, but I think she's still hurt. I feel like she'd probably fit better than.
Oh, right, yeah.
Honestly, anyone else. At least she's on SmackDown. It makes sense.
She's on Raw, I think, actually.
Is she?
Yeah, not that it really matters, but I mean,
yeah.
I'd rather take her over Becky.
I wouldn't really care if it was Becky. I like Becky, so I want to see her on the show.
Sure.
But like I said, if it's like Michin, I don't know. Like I said, she's just not over, and no one would care. Like,
I mean, yeah, I think they need an oomph for that last person.
Yeah, I feel like you need someone like of notoriety. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like that's why it's like a surprise. So I don't know. I would say it's probably gonna be Becky Lynch. I think it's like I said, it makes no sense when she's on Raw, but I think that's probably what it's gonna be.
Yeah, that's probably the better bet. I just don't think it would make sense, really. I mean, I like Michin. It would make sense for Michin, but if they're going to save this final spot for this coming Friday or next week or whatever, it probably should be a bigger star so people aren't getting their hopes up for no reason. Jade would be nice, but I just feel like it's too soon for that. And not that it wouldn't make sense, because they could say, hey, listen, we want to recruit you. You know, maybe, because Bianca even told me when I interviewed her that she would love to team with Jade, and that would be a great excuse to kind of not start that, but, you know, they could team on this one show and then feud later on. I think Jade's better off on Raw, but maybe they put her on SmackDown. They already have enough heels on SmackDown at this point. They don't really need her on SmackDown, and she also should not be a babyface. But, yeah, I mean, there's a couple different ways they can go with it. Zelina Vega, that's an option as well, right?
Yeah, I forgot about Zelina Vega. I'd honestly rather her than Shotzi, honestly.
Well, I mean, Shotzi's going to be in there regardless.
No, I know. I honestly, if I had a pick of the people I could put in, it would be Charlotte, Bianca, Zelina, and then the fourth person would be just tough. Like I said, like Shotzi, like I don't know. She's like a more pushed Michin in my mind. Like she's not really over, and she just gets pushed. Mm-hmm. I feel like I've seen her face Bayley 1,000 times. I really don't need to see it again.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's like kind of like there's this, I don't know, with this match, like you need like, it's tough because you need like multiple people, like at least with the men's, like you have people that are over and it's like not as bad. Like, I don't know, it's tough. Like the SmackDown actually has a really good women's roster, but I don't know, like 8 people that are over, that's pretty hard, especially when the roster's not that big. But like I said, I'd rather, if they put Zelina in, I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, I feel like the women's one, or the men's one you mentioned, kind of writes itself. I mean, you look at that one, and it might be expanding. So we found out on Monday. We already knew it was going to be Rollins, Rhodes, Zayn, and Jey Uso against the Judgment Days, Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and newly inducted member JD McDonough as of Monday's Raw. It was not official until then, so he's officially a part of the group. But Drew McIntyre factoring into the finish, turning on Cody and Jay, costing Jay the tag team titles, Claymore kicking him into next week. Great angle, closes the show, shaking hands with Rhea Ripley, kind of going full circle on that, offer that she offered him. He accepted. Now, the offer was to join Judgment Day, I think. I don't think he's joining Judgment Day, just to make that clear. I don't think it was ever to, maybe to leave people questioning that. I don't think the implication was that he was joining Judgment Day. They do not need him. He does not need them. I do think he is teaming with them at War Games. I don't know why he would want to. Maybe the idea, because I would say maybe Rhea promised him, if you can help us, then we can get you another shot at the World Championship. I mean, maybe I don't know. One, I don't know how that would make sense. And two, I was going to say maybe they would promise him the briefcase, but why the fuck would Damian Priest give that up? That would be very dumb. I don't know. Well, maybe we'll find out on Monday. But it looks like we are going 5-on-5. We said this last week that Drew might join the heel team, and he did on Monday night. And that last spot on the babyface team is still open. Now, Drew's not a part of the match as we speak right now. I just assume it will be made official on Monday's Raw and be made 5-on-4 and then 5-on-5 when the fifth person returns, which we'll get to. But as far as the Drew angle itself first, what were your thoughts on that and how it played out?
It was done very well. I thought the match was really good on Raw. I mean, they're just, Cody and Jay are just super over, and I feel like the Judgment Day are all over the show. And I just thought it was a really good match, and like you said, everyone else was banned from ringside. That happened in the beginning of the show. Even Rhea was. And then Jay just literally looks up and there's Drew and just hits him with the Claymore and they lose. But I thought it was done well. Like I said, Drew, like I don't think he's actually joining Judgment Day, and I hope he isn't. Like you said, they don't need him and he doesn't need them. Kind of both ways. So I think it's just like a mutual agreement. Like you said, maybe help him get a title match, or if he gets a title match, help him out or something down the line. But no, I thought it was done very well, and it was a great way to end the show, honestly.
Yeah, no, I thought they did a great job with it, and they've been teasing this heel turn now for Drew for a while, and they completed it with that angle on Monday night. I thought it was a job really, really well done, and it wasn't just a shock heel turn. Again, it made sense. It was more a matter of when than if he would turn heel. We got it on Monday. I thought the timing was perfect to kind of incorporate him into the War Games match on the heel side. On the babyface side, not even really much of a question. It's got to be Randy Orton, and I think they should do it on Monday's Raw, because if they leave the spot open until the pay-per-view, that would be cool. The problem with that is that they're in Chicago, and CM Punk's a free agent basically right now. I think people would think, a lot of people in that arena would think it's CM Punk, especially the guy's fucking teasing it on Instagram. It's not him, obviously, and he's just fooling people. But your thoughts on it being Orton? I mean, it makes sense. He has issues with the bloodline and not Judgment Day, but he is a friend of Cody Rhodes, and he could say, listen, I want him on my team. If we can recruit Randy to our team, that's a big get. So, and he can also maybe blame Drew for Riddle getting fired. Not that they would even bring that up, but, there is some history there as well. Your thoughts on Orton being the fifth member of the babyface team?
Oh, I literally can't wait to hear voices. Oh,
yeah, first time in a year and a half.
Randy so much.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Like I said, I think they should start off the show with saying that Drew's going to be in it and that the babyface team need, like, another member. Cody be like, oh, all right, called one of my old friends, like, see if he can join us. And then at the end of the show, you basically have, like, what they've been doing, like the big, basically like the big brawls they've been having. And you just have voices hit, and Randy fucking hits the ring and just starts fucking RKOing people. Yep. Oh, my God. I'd fucking jump out my window.
I'm excited. That's definitely happening on Raw this Monday. It just has to. If it doesn't happen on Raw, they could save it for Survivor Series, but I just feel like, again, they're running the risk of people getting upset that it's not CM Punk. But listen, Randy Orton, not a bad consolation prize at all, so I'm looking forward to that. We transition to AEW here, Mr. Marceau. One thing before we get into full gear, that, again, another thing that was announced after we hit record or finished recording last week. Nothing really major, but I thought it was worth pointing out. Latest departure from the company, the Bunny. She had been there since the beginning. I think she was one of the first women they hired, and they, I guess it was a mutual decision where her contract expired. She wanted to leave. I don't know. They said it's mutual. Maybe it's not so mutual. Maybe they just had no plans for her, and she was just like, I want to stay, because why the fuck would she not want to just get paid and stay? I don't know. Like, I don't really know where she goes from here for someone like the Bunny. Does she go to NXT, something like that? I wouldn't think so. She's already been in Impact. She got killed off in Impact, so I don't know. Any quick thoughts on the Bunny, her departure being made official from AEW?
Yeah, I really didn't know much about her before going to AEW. I feel like she's okay. She's decent. I think the biggest problem with her specifically was who she was kind of paired with. Like, the Butcher and the Blade, I know she's married to the Blade, I believe.
Yes.
But, I don't know, when you just get kind of like, when you're like managing or valeting for like a job tag team, it just doesn't help you, obviously. And I think she was fine. I don't know. She just was obviously never booked to be in the position of being more than just like a heel that just like put over baby faces. So I don't know how old she is. I feel like you said, I don't know if WWE is a route for her. I think if she got some more seasoning and training, I feel like she could be decent. I feel like she kind of reminds me in the ring of Chelsea Green before she came back to WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's standard. I wouldn't say she's amazing, but I just think with Green specifically now, I feel like her character work has definitely helped her more than her in-ring work. But, no, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how old she is, but, if she's young enough, I feel like if the opportunity was there, I don't know why you wouldn't even attempt it. Like I said, I think she's decent. I just think she just needs more training and some more seasoning.
Yeah, she's been around for a while. She was an indie girl before she joined TNA, like, 7 years ago. She was there for a long time, and then she went to AEW in early 2019. I think, honestly, the biggest issue with her is that as someone who followed her work in Impact and in TNA, to me, it seemed like she regressed, not only in the ring, but specifically as a character. And she's not awful, and I've said some matches that she's been in have been awful. I think when I say that mostly, it's because of the booking of the Bunny, too. And again, she's not the best woman in that division. I will not say that this is a massive loss for them. It's not. They have a lot of women in that division. So I'm not going to say that they misused her, because that would be ridiculous. But it seemed like she came in at the wrong time, I think, just because she was one of the first women signed, and she was on those first early pay-per-views, I think. And then she just got overshadowed by every person they brought in after her, and then at that point, even early on, she was just an enhancement person. I could not tell you one story they've had her in, aside from that Ty Mello, that street fight that she had. I think it was with Ty Mello, against Ty Mello and Anna Jay, and I think she was teaming with Penelope Ford, and that was a pretty good match on New Year's Eve a couple years ago on Rampage, I think. Beyond that, I really can't think of what much else she's done. But, you know, I mean, I am a little surprised that she's leaving, just because I would think that maybe the Butcher and the Blade would go with her, because they're also not doing shit. They were just never on the show, and they were just never booked to be anything more than an enhancement team. But I guess now, honestly, do you think there's a good chance that we might see more departures like this? And there's been other departures that I haven't mentioned, just because I either don't remember or they're just really not that important from AEW in the last couple of months. Do you think we'll see more departures of people of her caliber at that level, just because there's no Dark anymore and there's no real reason for them to be keeping her around if they're not going to use her?
I mean, I think they've transitioned some of those people to Ring of Honor, and if you're not going to use on either show, I got at that point you're just kind of like bloated. I mean, their roster I think is bloated to begin with, so I feel like they could kind of trim the fat a little bit. But I mean, it just depends. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised whenever her contract stuff like deal I like Red Velvet go. I mean, I feel like she's more of like a Cody hire. I feel like a lot of them have been the ones that have been getting like go lately or been mutually parted ways, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I mean, I think you'll see that more anyways. Like I said, I think they said originally most people signed a 3-year contract, so those should start be coming up any time now. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think the Bunny was a big loss. Oh, you also forgot her great story with QT Marshall when she like maxed out his credit cards when she was with Brandy.
Oh, that was awful. That was terrible. I remember that. I completely forgot about that.
They show QT's wife in the crowd. The Bunny's on TV saying she's fucking maxing out his credit cards.
I don't know what they were thinking with that storyline. It led to a decent Cody Rhodes or QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes tag team match against Butcher and Blade, but that was about it. It just was not worth the investment they put into that storyline. But I remember that it was a big Dark thing back in 2020, I believe. But yeah, Red Velvet's an interesting one. I honestly would think that she was on her way out. Maybe not so much now, but just because she just got brought back and she's been on TV like 4 times in the last week. Not to say that that'll be the consistent, regular thing going forward. But she's been on TV a lot lately, and maybe they won't let her go after all. I just didn't think she'd even be brought back after being injured twice, because she's been out injured for like a long time, on and off for like a year and a half. But, she's another one who's not great in the ring, but maybe they want to keep her around to either improve or use her as an enhancement person. I'm not really sure. But from there, we transition into Full Gear coming up this weekend, coming up on Saturday night, their latest pay-per-view. I will say this, I think as of now, and this could change by Rampage and Collision, which is happening both on Friday night, actually, before the pay-per-view on Saturday. They could add more matches. There's only 9 matches as of right now, including the pre-show. Do you think that we've mentioned this before, do you think the increased amount of pay-per-views a year for AEW will lead to more matches, less matches on these cards as opposed to 4-hour pay-per-views? Because the whole excuse was, we only have 4 or 5 shows a year. We can do 16 matches in 4 hours. I mean, not so much anymore. If you have monthly pay-per-views, there's no real fucking reason to have 4-hour shows and 15 matches. So far, it's only an 8-match card on the main card, and I think that's enough, and hopefully it goes around 3 hours.
No, I think with the more pay-per-views, they should do less matches, but I also think they also have 3 different TV shows that they have that they could beef up more by putting pay-per-view style matches on it, like on a Collision. I know their and Rampage ratings have kind of tanked lately, but no, I think I hope. I mean, like you said, the shows are like aggressively long, so hopefully the more shows they do, maybe we'll get less. But like you said, I haven't seen anything for Rampage or Collision. I don't know if they're pre-taping that or what, but I wouldn't be shocked if they added in a couple more matches. Just that's the tone anyway.
Yeah, I think they're doing, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're taping them live on Friday. I think they're taping Rampage at 8 and then Collision first at 8 and then Rampage right afterward, if I'm not mistaken. So that's the lineup for Friday night. So they'll probably add more matches, at least one more. I hope not too many, because I like the card as it is right now. On the pre-show, MJF defending the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles against the Guns. I thought he was going to have a partner. In the graphic, it said he had a mystery partner. As of right now, I think it's just Samoa Joe, or just MJF defending the championships on his own. Unless you've seen something else, I think regardless of whether it's MJF and a partner or just MJF, I think MJF retains the Ring of Honor tag team titles. I think it's safe to say that.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I didn't see anything. I might have missed something as well. To my knowledge, it was just him by himself. But like I said, I think they had like a graphic that there was going to possibly be a partner. I mean, if he has a partner, I feel like Samoa Joe would make the most sense. But even if he's in, like you said, even if he's in the match by himself, I think he wins. Yeah,
I think he retains the titles. I think ultimately he drops those championships. Cole's not coming back before he loses them. That would just be a waste. I don't think MJF's working final battle. Let's put it that way. I mean, maybe he will and he'll lose it there, but I think he loses it ultimately to the Kingdom. I think that just makes the most sense. For the AEW TBS Championship, Chris Statlander defends against Julia Hart and Sky Blue in a three-way match. I'm going to be honest with you. I was never the biggest Julia Hart fan, and I thought her, not lack of development in the ring, but as a character, because she was doing the same shit for so long, was just, it was not frustrating, but it was just like, all right, where are we going with this? But she's actually gotten a lot better on the mic. She's more well-spoken. They're giving her more mic time. She's with the House of Black, and her in-ring matches have actually gotten a lot better. Her last couple of matches with Willow and with Chris Statlander specifically at WrestleDream, I thought were actually pretty good, which is why, Mr. Marceau, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Julia Hart walks out by pinning Sky Blue and winning the AEW TBS Championship on Saturday. What say you?
I would keep the belt on Statlander a little bit longer. Like you said, I feel like they've been featuring Hart more. Still don't really care for the whole House of Black, spooky, whatever it is. Like you said, I think she has gotten better in the ring, and she's also been on TV a ton lately. So like that kind of does kind of push me to the side that she might win, but I just don't think she's there just yet. I like Statlander more. They said I guess she could pin Sky Blue, and then we get Herbert Statlander down the road. But I'm going to stick with Statlander still.
Okay. Statlander's still champion. I wouldn't be upset at that because then Statlander's had a really good run. So if she retains, I have no issue with that personally. AEW World Tag Team titles, Ricky Starks and Big Bill defending against LFI, House of Black, speaking of whom, and FTR in a four-way tag team title match. Who do you got going over here?
Jog my memory. Who's LFI?
La Fascione and Gobernable with Roosh and Dralistico, I think.
Okay.
Or Preston Vance.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I thought the Bucks were getting a tag match.
They have a tag match, but it's not for the titles, and we'll get to that afterwards.
Oh, it's just in the bank.
Yeah,
Remember they won like a battle royal to face. Okay. I'll keep the belts on Big Bill and Starks, I guess. I mean, I don't think FTR should just win them back. They just lost them. No to LFI and no to the House of Black.
Yeah, I think Starks and Bill hold on to them. They just became champions recently. I don't think FTR get the belts back this soon. I would like House of Black becoming champions, but it's Malachi and Brody King going for the belts, not Buddy Matthews. I don't want Malachi in the tag team division. We got to move on with him on his own. And then LFI I like, but I don't think they're winning the belts here. Another tag team match, Adam Copeland, Darby Allin, and Sting versus Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne in six-man tag team action. Nothing on the line here, but it is worth noting Sting has never lost in AEW. He's had like 20-something matches. He has yet to lose a single one. No singles matches, all tag team matches. 8-man, 6-mans, 2-on-2s, but he's won every single one. I don't think that changes here. I think they go over here, and that's why Nick Wayne is in there to take that pinfall loss. What do you think?
I was literally going to say the babyfaces are going to win by pinning Nick Wayne.
It's self-explanatory. I think that's pretty easy. I think they do Copeland and... I mean, they could do it at the March pay-per-view. I mean, I don't think they do it in December. I feel like that's too soon. I would save it for Revolution, personally. I don't know what you do with Sting in the meantime. We haven't seen Ric Flair since he popped up on Dynamite a couple weeks ago, so that whole thing about, I'm going to be with you till the end, pal. Hey, listen, hopefully that wasn't a shoot, or that, that was just him making shit up, and that's not actually the case, because we have not seen him since, and I'm not complaining. So, that is what it is. AEW International Championship. This one's a bit more unpredictable. I will give them credit for this. It's a rematch from All Out, with Orange Cassidy defending against Jon Moxley. So, Moxley won the championship from Cassidy at All Out. Moxley then loses the championship to Rey Fenix at the Grand Slam show, because Moxley got hurt. Phoenix was also hurt, so then he loses the belt right back to Cassidy. Do you think they just go back to their original plan and put the belt back on Moxley at this point, or do you think they might have Cassidy retain? Because I'm going to say Cassidy retains. They might put the belt back on Moxley, but not right now. I think they already had Moxley beat Cassidy once. To take the belt from him again, I just don't really see what's accomplished from that. Yeah,
it's tough. I would say, Because it's like, I feel like they want Orange to go farther than the International, and theoretically that's where he was headed before Moxley got hurt and dropped the belt to Phoenix and then dropped the belt back to Orange. I'll go with... I'll say... Oh, God, this is actually hard.
Yeah.
It's not like I honestly don't even care who wins. I just feel like... I don't know, the belt just flopped so much. It's like, then it's going to go back to... I'm going to go Moxley. I just have a grand thought that Tony wants to put Orange in, like, the title pick, like, the main title picture. So I'm going to say Moxley wins.
Okay. All right. I would not be... I think Moxley gets the championship back ultimately. I would not be upset if he does. I'm just thinking Cassidy will at least get one win over him, and then maybe they set up a rubber match, probably for Winter is Coming or the December pay-per-view, which is why I'm going with Cassidy. I just think if you have Cassidy lose to him twice, it's like, what's the point? Because they protected Cassidy so much for so long. I don't even really want him as champion, but maybe they'll have him win here, and then they can lose it. He can lose it to Moxley in the third match at some point in the next month or so. So this is where the Bucks thing comes in. The Young Bucks are facing let me check my notes, the Golden Jets. Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega. Just a dumb name. I know it's a playoff of a hockey team. I don't know if anyone actually gives a fuck, but that's the stupid name. So the deal here is, yes, the Bucks have a tag team title shot. They won a Fatal 4-Way at Full Gear, Wrestle Dream about a month and a half ago to become the number one contenders. The idea was, and it was promoted as such at the time, that with this title shot, they aren't technically next in line, but they can cash it in like via a Money in the Bank cash-in, I guess, anytime they want. And they haven't done so yet. They're putting the title shot on the line in this match. If they win, they retain the title shot, and the Golden Jets have to break up. If the Golden Jets win, they take the title shot from the Young Bucks. This is another unpredictable matchup, and the Bucks were teasing turning heel. Yeah, I'm going to go Golden Jets just because they just put them together. Honestly, ideally, I would have the Golden Jets lose here because I don't want Kenny Omega and another fucking tag team. Just use the guy on his own. Stop with the Elite Jericho bullshit. Just move forward with him on his own, please. I think they win. I think they should lose, but I do think they'll win, and maybe the Bucks go heel. But the Golden Jets become number one contenders instead. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think just with what I've seen on Dynamite lately, I mean, the Young Bucks were showing like frustration after losing the Ring of Honor 6-man titles against the Mobile Embassy. I think that's their name, right? Mobile Embassy. Mm-hmm. And like they were having like a meltdown after. Like Adam Page is kind of doing his own thing. Kenny's kind of going to his own thing now. Like I said, I don't really want like Omega and Jericho to win the belts. The way the story's being told, I feel like we're getting like another heel Bucks run. So I guess you'd have Omega and Jericho win here. I mean, he said I don't really want to see it happen, but just the logic and what's been going on, that makes the most sense.
I just don't want them as a tag team. I really don't. I mean, Jericho...
No, I completely agree. I completely agree. I think Omega's way better on his own. Jericho's just... I don't even know what he is at this point. I'd rather just see Omega on his own. But I think we're getting a tag team here, unfortunately.
Dude, are we ever getting Omega and Takeshita again? What happened to that? I know they were in a match last night in an 8-man tag. But, like... Why is that not the pay-per-view match? Why is it not Takeshita and Omega? Why do the Bucks have to be involved in this crap?
I have no idea. It's just like that might be the new Keith Lee versus Swerve. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's this new thing, like build this big feud and then never do the payoff. I don't know.
No, I know Takeshita beat Omega at the last pay-per-view, but or was it? No, I'm sorry, it was All Out. They did the first match, but they never had Omega get his win back.
All Out.
Yeah, it was All Out, and they never. I mean, I'm not saying Omega needs to get his win back, but you would think that's the story they want to tell, and, you know, it makes the most sense, and it was just a great match, and they want to see it again. But, no, listen, you gotta put Jericho first. He's the real priority, right?
He is.
Stupid. AEW
Women's... Ocho.
The Ocho, is that what you said?
Yeah, the fucking list of names he comes out with, yeah.
The list of nicknames, I think he just trademarked another one. He trademarked the Golden Jets, but he also trademarked something recently. I forgot what it was, but it was pretty dumb. AEW Women's World Championship, Hikaru Shida defending against Toni Storm. Another match we've seen several times, but listen, I mean, I know you're not big on the Toni Storm stuff, and you know, I know you've said that before. I'm eating it up. I love it right now. The AEW Women's World Championship is another belt that has been passed around more than, my belt or whatever the expression is you want to use. It's just not worthless, but I just hate the game of hot potato they're playing right now with that championship. I was originally thinking Shida would win because of that, because Shida won it back from Saraya, who won it back in, whatever. So she won it from Saraya in October, who won it at All In October, or in August, I'm sorry. I'm all over the place here. Saraya won in August, who won it from Tony, who won it from Shida in August, who won it from Tony. So that's the whole... That's what happened here, and that's the list of reigns from the last couple of months. It's all over the place. It's a complete and total mess. That being said, Toni Storm is the hot hand right now. She's one of the better things going in this company, and I think that was not the original plan, was to put the belt back on her, but they're kind of forced to at this point. Plus, I'm not really sure what they do with Shida if she retains here. So I think Toni Storm becomes champion.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I just don't know why. This is what I'm talking about. It's like... But why take the belt off her in the first place?
Yeah, no, why put the belt on Shida?
3 different times and put it right back on her.
Yeah.
It's like Roman having the belt to lose it to someone else, to just put it back on Roman in 2 months. Like, I don't know. Like I said, I guess it's like a different gimmick, but I don't know. I feel like she's, I don't know. Like I said, I feel like it makes sense. I feel like Shida's just like an ice cold champion. Like, I don't think anyone really cares that she's the champion.
Yeah, I think she's had a good reign. I don't know.
I feel like she came back and won it like so randomly. Like she came back out of nowhere. Won the belt on like that 200 show, and then she dropped the belt to fucking someone else. I don't know. I would just put it. I guess like you said, if you're going with the hot hand, it would make sense to put on Tony. If she like retains, like what do you do with her? Like I just feel like there's no other real heels for her to face anyways.
Yeah, I mean she already beat Saraya for it. She beat Ruby Soho already. So I don't really know. I think Toni Storm is the only other really person left unless, Thunder Rosa comes back. But I think Toni might... I don't know. I don't think Rosa is beating Shida for it. I mean, they're two baby faces. I think it makes more sense if Toni's the champion when Thunder Rosa comes back, which is hopefully soon because she's been gone for a very long time.
Yeah.
And you can run it back because I don't think Toni ever beat Thunder Rosa. I think they had that match at Forbidden Door. They were going to have a rematch at All Out last year, and then Thunder got hurt, so... And then maybe Thunder Rosa will beat Toni for it at the next pay-per-view, and we can just keep going on and on from there in a game of hot potato. Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland in a Texas death match. A rematch from WrestleDream won by Swerve. We got the run back here. Who do you think wins this one? I've actually been enjoying the feud, and if nothing else, it gets Swerve back on the show in a prominent role, which is all you can really ask for at this point.
I mean, Swerve should win. I think Page will win here. I mean, even up the score. I mean, I like Swerve a lot. I like what they've done with Paige lately. And I just feel like this is going to a third match. So I would have Paige win here.
Okay, all right. I think they will go to a third match. So you're saying you're going to have Swerve win here, but not... I'm thinking Paige wins here, and then Swerve wins the third match. No, that's
what I said. I said Paige.
Okay, I thought you said Swerve, my bad. Okay, I think Swerve...
Swerve won the first match, right?
He did, yes, yeah.
Yeah, so I would have Paige win here.
I think it'd be a hell of a statement.
Set up a third match.
Yeah, I know, I agree. I think it'd be a hell of a statement if Swerve won this one too, but he's probably not. I mean, it's a Texas death match. That's kind of Paige's specialty. That is what it is. But I think Paige wins as well. Get to the main event, MJF and Jay White for the AEW World Championship. They've been building up to this for a while. I don't know how the Devil stuff may or may not be incorporated into this. I don't really care for that shit personally. I just hope it's a straight-up match because I think these two guys can go in there and have a great match. Your thoughts in the match, the build, and who you got going over?
I knew you were going to make me pick first. I think the build's been, okay. I like Jay White. The whole Bullet Club, for me, they're just too goofy, and I don't know. I wish they were just more serious, but I like Jay White. The MJF stuff, I understand what they're doing with him. He's kind of all over the show, but, he's kind of, lost his mystique a little bit. He's just so all over the show. Like I said, the Devil stuff, it most likely will have some kind of effect on the match. I think it'll be a good match. I kind of wish it's going to be one straight on straight, but it's going to be people galore, I assume. I hate they make me pick first. I I think if you're going to take the belt off MJF, it's the best time to do it.
Okay, interesting.
I think you think he's signed. I don't think he is. This New Year's coming up. I feel like if you're going to put it on anyone in white, makes the most sense now. So I'm going to say Jay White wins.
Wow. You think MJF Chase is going into Long Island, maybe, or what do you think?
I think so. I mean, I guess he could win here and they do the rematch at World's End, and that's where he drops the belt. I don't know. I just think if you want White to be really over, you have him win here and not like another rematch down the line. Unless like the devil thing gets involved, but like why would they help MJF? We don't really know yet. I don't know. I'm gonna go with White. Like I said, unless they redo it at World's End, but I feel like it means more now if you're gonna put the belt on him. Like it's like, I don't know, name WWE person that lost their pay-per-view and they gave it to him the next one. Like, it's just so dumb. Like, Bianca and Asuka.
Yeah.
Like, she beat her at WrestleMania and she dropped the neck. Like, it's not as big. So
no, I agree.
I would have White win here if he's going to win the belt. Like I said, I don't think MJF's re-signed, so I think that has a factor into it. And White wins.
I think MJF retains just because they set up so many different challengers from Wardlow to Joe in a rematch. You can't really do those matches if Jay White's champion. So do you think all of that stuff is just a swerve, maybe? No pun intended.
It could be. I just feel like at this point, I feel like White's the one to beat him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, they're kind of telling these other people. Like, Joe shouldn't even get a fucking title shot. He's lost 1,000 of them. I don't know why he's getting one. Wardlow, he hasn't been on the show for 6 months. He comes back beating job guys. So not sure why he'd get a title match. I just feel like White's the one to beat him. Like, they've been pushing him so much. The whole Bullet Club Gold stuff's been all over the show. Feel like it makes the most sense. I would just put it on him now if he's the one to beat him. Like I said, I'd rather him win now than like win a month or two down the line.
Do you think MJF loses the championship because of interference from Joe or a Wardlow or something like that? Because Wardlow even said in a pre-tape a couple weeks ago, listen, I'm going to take everything from you because you took everything from me. I feel like that would make sense. Or do you wanted a clean win for Jay White?
I mean, it's definitely not going to be clean. I mean, it's
interference
the
galore.
Gold shit will be all over the place. Yeah. So I think that's what's going to happen, yeah.
Okay. Last question for you before we wind down here, because this was announced by Tony Khan yesterday on X, on Twitter, that at Full Gear, in typical Tony Khan fashion, he had to hype this up in advance, that he is signing a well-known, well-respected, one of the biggest talents in wrestling. I believe is what he said. Maybe not one of the biggest talents, but he said a big star. I don't have the wording in front of me, but it was something along those lines, dude, where he said someone that every AEW fan respects, and I'm thinking, like, everyone respects everyone, so what does that mean exactly? And he said they'll put pen to paper, and they'll sign on the dotted line this Saturday at Full Gear. We've seen the same song and dance before. They did this with Christian Cage a couple years ago, poor guy, because everyone thought it was Punk, and it ended up being Punk later on, but everyone thought it was Punk or Brock Lesnar or fucking Kurt Angle, and it was Christian, and people were a little disappointed. And he's been an amazing signing for them, obviously, but, at the time, people were disappointed. Is it Goldberg or something? Like, I mean, I don't think it's Will Ospreay would fit the bill, but I don't think his contract is up until February, so I don't think it's Will Ospreay. The only other name that comes to mind for me is Mercedes Moné. And I think she might be cleared by now. She's been kind of playing it coy. She hasn't really said anything, so I'm not really sure. But here's the thing, though. I think when he made that announcement on Twitter, everyone was thinking Mercedes. So if it's not Mercedes, I feel like anything, again, same thing with Punk and Christian a couple years ago. If it's not Mercedes, people will be disappointed. So what do you think? And when you see that, what's the first name that comes to your head?
I mean, a lot of people have been saying her. I honestly have no idea why she'd want to go there anyways. I just feel like their women's division just isn't really there. I mean, make amends with WWE and go back makes the most sense if you ask me. With her specifically, I don't know. I mean, it could be her. Like you said, I feel like that's the hoopla is her. In my mind, I just don't really know why she'd want to go back there. I feel like the WWE women's division just overall has been thriving a lot more, and she could just be right back into it. I mean, like I said, I think if it's anyone besides her, I feel like people are going to be disappointed. I mean, people said Ziggler, but I don't think his 90 days even up yet.
That would be if it was. It's not Ziggler because yes, 90 days aren't up yet, but that would be terrible. I'm sorry, that would be awful.
I mean, I don't know if like 90-day non-compete, does that mean you can't wrestle? Does that like, I guess there's not really like, could you sign a contract? Like, I mean, there's kind of vagueness there.
I don't think so.
Sign a contract and still not.
They always waited until the 90 days were up for people to like when Keith Lee's 90 days, like they waited until right up until then to have him come in. So I mean maybe, but I don't think so.
So
maybe.
Like I said, I think besides Mercedes, I don't think anyone else would, like that's who it seems like it's going to be. I'm just going back to the fact I don't know why she'd want to go there. I feel like WWE makes the most sense for her. I mean, I don't know why. I don't know. I just feel like with what the women's division. Like I said, WWE, even all over all three platforms, like NXT, SmackDown, Raw, like the women are all over the show.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they could use her as well, and I feel like she could use their kind of platform.
Yeah.
So I think it's her. If not, I think everyone would be disappointed.
I could see why she would want to go there to get some more freedom and just do something different because it's the next biggest platform next to WWE. And she only left about year and a half ago from WWE. My biggest issue with her not going back to WWE and why I was in favor of that was because if you did bring her back a year ago or earlier this year, what the fuck does she do? Because like their women's division really hasn't been much of a priority either until recently. And she's done it all a million times. Face, heel, cool. Like not that I don't care about Sasha, but in WWE she had done all there was to do. And when she comes back down the road, a bigger star, it's going to be an exciting moment. Has it been long enough for that moment to really mean something for her to come back? Or do you think I know you said she probably wouldn't be a great fit for AEW. Or do you think it would be a big moment if she comes back and they can find something for her to do, like in the Bayley situation, where maybe she brings her back to the light and she brings her back to the babyface side, or whatever the case might be?
No, I mean, I feel like if she was like the person on, like if she was the mystery person, like you mentioned earlier, for the War Games, I mean, like you said, she could bring Bayley back to the light, and we get them versus Damage Control. I mean, they when she left, she was with Bayley. She comes back with Bayley, just a babyface this time, and then like you just shoot her off, and she does. I mean, faces Jade, and there's other women coming up, and I feel like there are a lot of opportunities. Like, yeah, she has wrestled a ton of people, but I feel like there's also some new people she hasn't worked with, and I don't know. Like I said, I feel like I don't know. I just feel like with her, it's like she's all about the big brand, and I just feel like going to AEW is just underneath her thoughts.
I think
like I understand she's very high on herself, and I feel like that's like saying like you're a big football player and you're gonna go play for the XFL, USFL instead of the NFL. Like I think she thinks of herself as like a global star, and going to WWE would make the most sense than going to AEW.
I think we established this already when Saraya came in, Paige came in a year ago, and we were like, maybe this is the game changer they needed for that division, and it's been anything but. And I like her, but she just has not had a great run, and she's different because she's not full-time, and she's had the injured neck and whatever. I honestly think at this point, whether it be Mercedes or anyone, even if Charlotte fucking Flair went there, which people have speculated, maybe that's why they signed Ric Flair to bring in Charlotte. I don't think that's the case. I honestly think we're at a point where no one woman is going to make that big of a difference in that division. Even though they have a lot of great women in that division, it all comes down to Tony Khan. I think it's safe to say at this point.
No, I completely agree. They brought in all these XW people, pushed them to the moon, and they just have all, at this point, all feel the exact same. No one really feels like a big star in their women's division specifically. I mean, Jade was the biggest star they had, and she left. So, I don't know. I don't think bringing her in, which I think she'll be hot the first night, and then the booking will put her down the card, and she'll be maybe seen a little bit higher than like a Ruby Soho or Tony. But I think going back to WWE, she could be back in like the top tier of women. Maybe finally get that 4 horsewoman match that we've been talking about for fucking decades. But I just feel like going back to WWE to me makes the most sense. But
I mean, I would not have felt that way 6 months ago, but I think it's honestly the way to go now. I think you're right, honestly. I mean, if you look at the landscape of WWE and the women they're bringing in, Julia's another one. She can have another match with Kairi, too. I mean, Io's another one. She faced Io at Great American Bash a few years ago, but like on the main roster, I don't need to see her in Charlotte again, but, you know, now that Ronda's gone, maybe they open up the budget for Sasha Banks.
No, yeah, I mean, I think her and Io would be great, like you said, depending on Kairi again. I mean, I'd like to see her in Stratton when Stratton gets called up. I really like her a lot. Mm-hmm. I mean, Roxanne. They have a ton of women. Like, the NXT is, like, literally have so many good women, too. that they're going to have to, like, just, like, that's why I feel like they're kind of, like, they're in a tough predicament because they have so many women they're pushing on the main roster, but they have so many, like, a good handful of women at NXT that are ready to go now. Like, that's why I feel like Roxanne and Tiffany are, like, spinning their wheels currently, because it's, like, they should be on the main roster, but, like, they're trying to put, like, an emphasis on like Xia Li and Tegan Nox and some other underutilized call-ups, but then it's like then these people that are already are kind of just sitting there. So, no, I think they have a surplus of women. I don't think that's a bad thing. I feel like they're all over the show, and it's not like their ratings are tanking. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure like the Damage CTRL did the highest rating on SmackDown last week.
Yeah.
But no, I think going to WWE, if you're a woman right now, it's like they're pushed all over the show. They're marketed well. I don't know why you wouldn't do it unless, yeah, I really don't know why you'd like say no to the opportunity.
Yeah, I guess we'll see how it shakes out. I think she ends up back up there eventually, but it could be on the sooner side than what we originally anticipated, given the current circumstances. I mean, I know she popped up at All In. I've said before, I think she should go to AEW but not sign a deal. I think she could work a couple matches there. I think she'd be dumb to sign a deal and lock herself down to a contract where she's just another woman. Toni Storm's done really well. There's a few women who have done really well. But they have like 30 women on that roster, and only a few of them are actually spotlighted, and they're doing a better job recently, but I don't know. They got to figure that out, and I don't know if Sasha's going to make that big of a difference. She would make a difference, and she would be worth the hype, but I'll text you LOL on Saturday when it ends up being Goldberg or something like that.
Sounds good.
Hey, listen, at least it's not Ric Flair. They already made that one official. So imagine if it was all this hype for Ric Flair, I would die of laughter. But thankfully, he already is all elite, so that's not the case. But we'll talk about it next week here on WrestleRant Radio, Mr. Marceau. We'll review Full Gear, break down Survivor Series ahead of that show next week, and it's a busy November. But first and foremost, Mr. Marceau, enjoy your birthday. Big 30 here today, and I can't wait to talk to you next week.
Thanks. Have a great one, man.
Have a great one. I'll talk to you soon.
Join Graham, GSM Matthews, and RJ Marceau every Thursday as they run down their weekly wrestling rants, offer expert analysis, host exclusive interviews, and more. Subscribe today on all your favorite podcast platforms and never miss an episode of WrestleRant Radio.